Hello, everybody. I pray that everybody is well and blessed. Today, I wanted to do a message to talk about my twin flame journey. Um, Today is May 13th, 2024, and today is a very exciting day for me because it is the 4 year anniversary of the very first day that I heard my husband's voice. And as I'm sitting out here just reflecting on the day, having some quiet time by myself, meditating out at the water, it's very loud. I'm outside, so excuse all the noises. Um, I was just thinking about that day 4 years ago and hearing my husband's voice. And I wanted to, I've, since I met my husband, I have felt called to share about the twin flame journey. Just because in my experience out here, there just aren't that many people that are actually in union, living with, or married to their twin flame. And so I have, on my journey, reached out to people, connecting, trying to connect with people, listening to messages and readers or, content creators from people who, say they're on a twin flame journey, twin flame coach, twin flame this, but they're not actually with their twin flame. So I've just, kind of just been out here on this journey, figuring it out. Um, and I want to say too that I use the term twin flame because it has really helped me in a lot of ways, just kind of be a guide or give me some clarity to what exactly has been happening to me. But I had already met my husband. We had decided to get married, I already had a date before I even knew about the term twin flame. And so I do use it a lot. I will use the term, but like, this is my husband. So it's just very different for me. I just saw 222 on the timer. Um, I use the term because there are a lot of things about a lot of concepts or terms in this, or a lot of, sure, terms, concepts, whatever, within this twin flame dynamic that really resonate with me, and then there's some that don't, and so I will use it just as a point of reference to connect with others who may be on this journey. Or, but again, this is my husband. So 4 years ago, I met this man who completely changed my life. I literally think back to the time to 4 years ago, to the person I was 4 years ago, and it's crazy because I'm not even that person anymore. So anyway, um, prior to meeting, I have to start at prior to meeting my husband. Prior to meeting my husband, I was living in South Carolina, retired from the military. I was in a relationship that I knew that it wasn't for me, even from the very beginning. But in that relationship, I started a business, and so my business was kind of tied to, not kind of, it was tied to. Let me own that. It was tied to the relationship. The business was tied to the relationship, and so I struggled with separating or ending the relationship when I knew I needed to, because I was struggling in my business, and it was a new business, and it was in an industry that I didn't know anything about. So the business was dependent on like my family who knew about the industry, this previous partner who was the driver for the business, and so yeah, it was anyway. While in that relationship, I had a health scare. The doctors told me they just knew that I had cancer. I had some weird stuff going on. They sent me to a cancer specialist immediately. In that, they found all kind of more stuff that it was very scary. I'm not going to lie, very scary. But in that process, I just told myself, I don't have cancer. This is not my portion. No, I'm not accepting this. No, I'm no. And so after months and months and months, the test came back. Everything was benign and clear. All the tests, that it was crazy. Even the cancer doctor, he was sitting there looking at me, and I was looking at him. And so, yeah, I didn't have cancer. And after I knew I had beat cancer, I was like, no, need to make some changes immediately. And one day I just was having a bad day in this relationship, in this business, struggling. And I just prayed out to God to send me my person. I was ready for my person. I had been successful in my career. I had children, grandchildren. I had had businesses before, owned homes, had a degree, went down the list, named it all to God. Like, yeah, I got all that, but I have not been successful in love. My first marriage ended. Um, yeah, I was ready. I was ready for my person, and I wanted God to send me my person. And I started running down this list of all these things that I wanted. But the most important was that I was ready now, and I wanted to know for sure that this was my person. So of course, when you be careful what you ask for, you just might get it. Boy, my life fell apart. The business fell apart. The relationship got it became very clear to me that I needed to get out of the relationship. So I got into counseling to change, to heal, to grow, to not be an angry black woman, to find out what's up with this relationship. How did I get here and how to get out of it? And I did that. COVID happened. My business fell apart. And it was all of a sudden I said, you know what? I'm moving to Jacksonville, Florida. Why Jacksonville? I don't know. Like I always wanted to live in Florida. That's a whole nother story in itself, but that's part of the this whole twin flame dynamic. Is I was drawn to Jacksonville, Florida. I had no family here. I did have my goddaughter lived here, but I knew I wasn't coming here to have a relationship with her. I just knew because I already had a relationship with her. I was coming here for whatever reason. It was the strongest pull to come here. And so I put my brand new home on the market. People thought I was crazy. Everybody, oh my gosh, it was the craziest thing, but whatever. I did it. And I used dating websites at that time because it was new to me. That's what I chose in my life, just based on how things were set up. And so was dating. I was completely single, dating some people, nothing serious, nothing like that. But one day I changed my dating profile to Jacksonville, Florida, and literally the first day I changed it to that, um, this picture shows up of this guy, and I'm, working on OCD. So I had like this whole process of how I, look for people that I was interested in. But on this particular day, I saw this picture, and it was so, I can't remember that part in detail, but I just remember it was a picture, and for whatever reason, I liked the picture. Never looked at the profile. Nothing. I looked at the next picture. It was like two pictures, and I think I'd like both of those pictures. And then, within like maybe an hour, he responded, but the way his response was like, I was confused because it seemed as if he was answering a question, or I had said something to him, which, maybe I was unfamiliar with how the site worked, or, God, or, the universe, whatever. But his response was like, made me really pay attention to it. And so when I saw his response, I looked at it, was like, what? And so I read his response, and then I went and looked at the profile, like, who is this person? Like, what? I don't. And I looked at the profile, and his profile does not line up with what I was looking for at that time. But I was so drawn to this picture, and I was drawn to what he said. And so he and I corresponded. So yesterday was the day that we met, and we corresponded via this app, this dating pros website, for a day. And then we were going back and forth so much, and the way that the app worked was really weird. You had to go into it, and it was too much. So it was just like, let me just give you my number, and we just talked outside the app. And so we were texting, and then today, 4 years ago, he called me. And when I heard his voice, I don't know what it was. I can't explain it. Like the things that people say in the twin flame videos about the voice, the activation or whatever, I believe that, because hearing his voice just changed me. Like, and then it was crazy. I don't know what it was. And then we just talked and talked. We talked for hours and hours and hours and hours, like literally, Mooney Long song, Hours and Hours, like that is my song to him, one of my songs, because that's it. We talked for hours. We built a relationship. I was ready to marry this man just by talking to him. And ever since that time, my life has been so different. And so I'm going to be sharing more and more videos, just about that experience, and what it's like for me, and just confirming kind of some of those things that are out there about the twin flame journey, that, the voice is very activating. It is. And we just talked, and it just felt so like I knew him already, and it was just so comfortable, and it was just amazing. And after hearing his voice and after having conversations with him, it's like my voice changed and I started speaking differently. I immediately, after connecting with him, immediately just started looking at the things that I was doing, like, why am I doing that? Why did I do that? Why did I say that? What? That doesn't make sense. Um, yeah, it was so crazy because I even remember just sitting my daughters down. I had two adult daughters and one minor daughter, and I remember just sitting them down and having this conversation with them, just like basically apologizing. Not basically, but I did. I apologized to my children for how I raised them, how I was as a mother, for not being present, not being for all the things that I can think of that I did wrong. Because I had this automatic awareness that I was living in survival mode, and I didn't even know what that meant. But I remember telling them, like, I was living in survival mode. I was doing whatever I felt was going to keep us safe. That's how I made decisions. And I always made actually very good decisions because it was very easy. It was like, okay, what do my children need? What do I need? I was in the Navy. And so it was like everything was kind of built around that, my job, and what we needed to be safe. And so I was living in fear and survival mode, making decisions off of that. And I also apologized to my children for how I raised them. And I was like, remember saying to them, like, I raised you based off of how I was raised, the things that I saw my mother do. And then as I got older, I implemented some things of my own based off of some things that my mother did that I didn't want to do. But I never investigated those things to see if whether they were true or right. I just did what I saw done. And so for any pain, trauma, hurt that I caused my children, I apologized and just told them that, I'm changing and, going to be, working on being a different person. And it was so strange having that conversation with my children because I know that came from talking to this man. I just all of a sudden had this awareness. So his voice was very activating to me. And I also had an awareness too of like at that time I was still practicing Christianity. Even though I had questions my entire life, I've done videos on that too of why I left Christianity. But at that time, it became very clear to me, and nothing that he said, because my husband was not, he had a very strong relationship with God and believed in God, but he didn't follow our religion. So it wasn't like he coerced me or forced me. No, it just was like, I just, like, it was like a light switch came on. It was like, wait, why am I doing that? This just doesn't make sense. And so, um, yeah, that, if you hear some content creators that are talking about twin flame relationships and they talk about the voice is activating, and yes, it's very activating. My husband's voice felt very comforting to me, like familiar, like I knew it, and I just couldn't get enough of it. And it literally changed me. And so, yeah, stand by for more twin flame content. And I'm saying twin flame again just because some of the things resonate. But again, I married this man, so this is my husband. And so, yeah, look forward to more twin flame information, or really just I'm just sharing my journey with hopes that others that are on this journey can, maybe hear something that resonates and connect, for them on their journey. And if you are on this journey, and struggling or not struggling, but just want to connect and share your story, because that's activating as well. Like talking to other people on this journey, you learn things that you didn't know, and you get to share, your story with others, and to connect and know that you're not alone. Reach out to me. You can reach out. My information is on my profile here on YouTube. Reach out, and I have a Facebook group also that I just share information, tools that I use on my journey every day. So yeah, let's connect. And again, stand by for more content. Be blessed and have a great day.